Hi everyone, welcome to Bag Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. So today we're going to be learning how to make a circle dress with illusion at the upper part. So I'll be using this fabric. This lace fabric will be the part I'll be using to achieve the illusion, and then I'll be using this floral fabric for the flared part or for the circle side. So the measurements needed to achieve this gown is your shoulder measurement, which in this case, my client's shoulder measurement is 16. You need the full length of the gown, which is 43 inches. It's a circle we're making. So these are just the measurements we need. And this circle dress is going to have a bishop neckline. That's a Madrid collar. It's going to have a bishop collar. So let's get started. So just adjust the measurement and then the armhole measurement. You don't really need your bust, your waist, because it's a circle dress I'm making. So to get started, I'll be drafting on this part first. I'll be achieving the upper part first before we go ahead to do the down side. Okay, so I'm going to fold my fabric into two. This is for my front piece. So to determine the amount of fabric to fold is the shoulder measurement I'll be using here, since it's the upper part. The shoulder divided by 2 is 8 inches, because the shoulder is 16, divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark my starting line. So go ahead and draw my starting line, which is going to serve as the shoulder line, using my white chalk so that it's obvious. So I'll go ahead and mark 3 inches and then 8 inches. This is to achieve my shoulder slant. So I'll come down by 1 inch and then connect it to the 3 inches. So now I have my shoulder slant. So like I said, my client's shoulder measurement is 16. 16 divided by 2, since my fabric is on fold, 16 divided by 2, that's 8 plus half inch for joining my sleeve. So can you see? So you see it's extended outward on the shoulder slope, okay? So I'll come down by the illusion part. I will have just 6.5 inches. So I'll come down by 6.5 inches from the shoulder line. I'll mark my 6.5 inches on the shoulder line. So let's mark it. So here we are. So armhole, the armhole of my client is 7.5. 7.5, how did I come about my 7.5? The bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. Her bust is 36 inches. So when you divide it by 6 plus 1.5, that will give you 7.5. Okay, so that's how I came about our armhole. Like I said, you don't really need your bust measurement, but you need it to achieve your armhole measurement. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now we're looking for 7.5. So you can see that from this part, if I place my tape from the shoulder slope, I just have 6 inches. That's what I have here. This is even like 5 3/4. So that means the remaining part of the armhole will go into the down part. That's the circle of this dress. Okay, so that is it. So now I'm just going to add half inch for my joining allowance. This will be used to join the upper part and the lower part. Okay, so right now I'm just going to go ahead and bring my 8.5, what I have here. I'll just go ahead and bring it down here like this, and then connect it this way. So right now I'm not going to treat my angle, take out the bulge and all that until I cut the down part, and then we'll place them together and trace out the shape. But what I'll just do is this, since I already know that my angle is 7.5, so let me get the midpoint of this angle. Can you see I'm just bringing my tape down, because I know that this part is going to be the floral side, okay? That's the other material. So this is the midpoint of my armhole here. So I'll go in by half of an inch. I'll go in by half of an inch for the back armhole, and I'll also go in by half of an 3/4 of an inch for the front arm. So I'm just going to connect it back to the shoulder tip like this, and then I'll also connect this back to the shoulder tip like this. Okay, then I want to use this. Now is going to serve as my back piece. I'll go ahead and cut out my front piece by the time by the time I've placed together the second one. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this marking like this. I'll get another white chalk so that it's very clear. So this is go ahead and cut the back, and then the shoulder slant. So for now, I'm just going to leave it this way first. I'm just going to leave it this way, and then I'll cut this way. This is because I've not gone ahead to shape my armhole proper. So I'll place the back, my fabric, and cut the one that will serve as the back before we reshape the neckline of the front. Okay, so here we are. So I'll go ahead and trace out my neckline for the back. So now this will serve as my back piece, and then this will now serve as my front piece. So I'm using a neck depth of 3 by 3 inches. Okay, so here we are. So now it's time for us to cut the flared part. Okay, so to determine the circumference of our flared, this is the circumference of the front circle, and then this is the front circumference of the back circle. I'm going to be making a half circle, that's a 180 flare. Okay, so now I'll take my measurement like this. So from here to here, everything I have here is 17.5. This is 17.5. Remember, I've not traced out my armhole yet, so I have some excess. I'm just going to work with this. So I have 17.5. So now, to determine the radius of this circle, because already I have the circumference of where I'm going to be attaching this flare. So I'm going to divide this 17.5 by 3.14, which is our formula for deriving or to get a 180 flare, which is a half circle. Okay, 14 is your pi. Okay, pi for a half circle is 3.14. So that's pi. We're going to divide the circumference by pi to get the radius. Okay, so we're going to say 17.5 divided by 3.14. Pi is 3.14. So I have 5.57. So which is 5.6. Okay, so this is 5.6. So now the length of the flare that I'm looking for, the full length of my client is 43. 43, and here I already have 6.5. Remember that this is plus sewing allowance, so that's 6.5. So I'm assuming that's not assuming I have 6.5. So I'm going to say 43 minus 6.5. So I'm looking for 36.5. So this 36.5 plus my radius. Remember that the radius is 5.6. So that's 42.1 is what I'm looking for. Then, of course, my joining allowance and my hemming allowance. So I need a hemming allowance of 1 inch because it's a circle I'm making. So that 1 inch is just fine. So 1 inch, and then plus ½ inch for joining the illusion to the flare. Okay, that's half plus 0.5. So everything I'm looking for 43.6. So that's like 44 and 43.5. So let's just call it 43.5. Okay, so now I'll be showing us how to fold our fabric. So right now I've established the fact that I'm looking for 43.5. So now this is it. I'll bring my fabric like this. Can you see? So I'll go ahead and take the measurement from this side. Here is my 43.5. So So here is 43.5. So you want to make sure that you measure correctly. So here is 43.5. So I just hold this part so you can notch it so that it doesn't shift. Flare has a way of shifting, especially when it's big. Okay. So here we are. So can you see my 43? I folded it. This is 43. I folded it this way. So having folded it this way, I'm going to now place it like this. Having folded it this way into two, can you see? I'm going to just, let me clear my table so that it's easy to fold. 3.5, can you see what it looks like? It's this way, right? So now I'll pick it up from here to meet this notched part. Can you see? That's why it's good to notch it. I want to place it on bias to create this triangular shape. So here we are. So here I have my triangular shape. Okay. See that from here to here, can you see this part that is inside, which is where I measured the initial 43.5. So let me take my measurement from here. So you see, I still have my 43.5 from here. Now having created this triangular shape, remember that what we got as our radius is 5.6, okay? So I'll just come here and mark it. You can mark 5.5, which is still the same thing, it's just the difference of point. So you know we don't even have 5.6 on our tip. Okay, so this is 5.5. 5.5. Take note of where I'm placing it from. I'm placing it from the apex here, this triangular shape here. So 5.5 and then up to this point. Can you see that? So now you want to take the full length of the gown. Okay, what we got as our total was 43.6. So I'm just going to place my tape. You can subtract the radius and then start placing your tape from here. But it's easier to just place the same 43.5 here. So you just come here, place your tape and mark your 43.5. Can you see what I'm doing? Then you keep going around 43.5. So it's easier to walk this way. 43.5. Keep, just make sure that your tape does not leave the apex. Okay, so 43.5 and then 43.5. So you want to just connect your markings. So you see that? So now that we have this, I'll just go ahead and cut out this part, which is the radius. And then I'll also cut the circle, that's the down part here. Side like this also. Okay, so I haven't cut it out. So can you see what my flare looks like? So I have a half circle. Can you see how it is falling? So now you want to confirm the measurement here. This formula has a way of giving you your sewing allowance. Can you see? So, so take note, what did I get here? I got, remember that we had 17.5, but now after cutting, you can see I have 20.5. This is because it's a curved shape, so it just has a way of expanding itself. So I have 20.5, which is going to serve as my sewing allowance for this gown. I hope. So I haven't matched it up. So can you see that I have, this is more than it because this will now serve as my sewing allowance. So remember that the armhole right now, we have not even cut out our armhole. So by the time we take our armhole and trim this side up, so can you see how this side will be? So I'm going to now place it together and cut out the armhole before I'll use the same thing, place and get the other side. I'll use the one, remember that we have not trimmed any armhole, so I'm going to be tracing out the back. So we're going to assume that this is the back before we go ahead and cut out the front and then retrim the front armhole since it is more inwards. So we'll work with the back first. So let's fold it into two like this. So here we are. And then bring this also and fold it into two like this. So now that we have this placed like this, so here, remember that the back armhole, we went in, let me pin the center here so that they are together. So remember that the back armhole, we went in by half of an inch, so this is it, the first one. So I'll bring in my curved ruler and place my tape like this. So we're looking for an armhole of 7.5. So you make sure to place half inch on top of half inch, which is going to serve as my joining allowance. Okay, let me pin it so that it doesn't shift. So I haven't pinned them together like this, sorry, like this. Remember that we have our sewing allowance there. Okay, so here we are. So now I'll take my measurement and measure 7.5 inches. So here is my 7.5 inches. So already we have the half inch for sewing allowance. Okay, that's for joining them together. So here we are. So now we'll mark to connect to this line. So then we'll bring in our curved ruler and place it. I'll be following this half inch mark that I have here. So this is it, the first one. The second one is for the front armhole. So here we are. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out like this. So can you see that the remaining part, can you see that the armhole has now come into the flare? So what I will do, I'll just go ahead and place this piece now and cut out exactly the same thing that I have here. Remember that this is for the back armhole. Then I'll bring in the other piece, because the other illusion, that's the original back now, right? And then I'll place it just to trace out my back armhole. I use the other one, that's the front, the one with the front neckline, because I have my markings there. So now I have my back armhole. Can you see that it's still matching up with it? So now what I'll be doing now that I've done this already, so I want to just retrim my front armhole by taking away that extra quarter inch. Can you see that? So you just cut it out. So now we have the illusion for both front and back. So now place this fabric on this and get exactly what I have here. Then I'll show us the next thing to do. Okay, so I've cut out the second flare. So which this is going to be for the back. Okay, so I cut it. I couldn't get one at once. Okay, so I had to cut it into two. So and then I sewed together and I've woven. Can you see? So can you see what we have? So I'm just going to press this center. So now without wasting time, already we have I went ahead to cut my flare. This dress is going to be having a flare sleeve. I'm using the lace fabric for the flare. So I cut a 360 flare. If you don't know how to draft a 360 flare, I'll be dropping the link in the description box so that you can also check it out. Okay, and I cut out my basic sleeve. I've done several basic sleeves on this channel. Please check it out. This is just a short sleeve of 13 inches. That the sleeve is stopping at the elbow length. Okay, so now we have this. So the next thing now to do is, this is my back piece. Remember that I'll be having a bishop collar attached to this dress. So I need two pieces of this. One will have to serve as the lining. That means this back has to be slashed open so that the head can pass. Because of course the bishop collar to stay close to the neck. So you need an opening at the back since I'm not using a zipper. So I'm just going to iron this, and then I'll place this on my lace fabric and cut out the second one. So I need two pieces of this. Okay, so for this one I'm okay with just one since I'm going to have a bishop collar attached to the neckline. So I'll just cut out two pieces of this and then I'll show us the next thing. So I haven't cut out the second one that I'll be using for my facing. So this is it. I'll just go ahead and slash it open. I'll slash it open and stop 2 inches or 1 inch away from the end. So can you see? This is for me to have a button here so that I can close it, and the head, of course, when it is open, the head can easily pass. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one like this. And then I'll also slash it open like this. Then I'm going to take to my sewing machine and then I'll sew this way, and come back this way. Now sew on 1/2 inch on just this opening. I'm not going to be turning the neckline. Remember that we're fixing a bishop collar, so all I need to do is to sew this way. Okay, so I'll bring it back and show us the next thing to do. Sewing my, that's turning the opening. Okay, can you see? I'm sewing. So this is it now on the right side. So this is what I have on the right side. So I use the lace to line it. So if you don't have enough of the lace, if you don't want to use the lace, maybe it is too thick or whatever it is, you can use your net to turn it. Okay, so here we are. So I'm just going to bring my iron and press it. So after pressing it, the next thing now to do is to top stitch this sides, okay, so that they don't keep shifting. This is the part I'll have my collar, so I'm just going to top stitch it. So after top stitching it, what I will do next is to carry my back piece. Now this is the back side of the flare, or the back. What I'll do, I will now place this, making sure that this center that I have here is matching up with this center. Now remember that I have a joining here, so of course this is my center back. So I'll take this and then sew it to it, making sure that this opening is matching up at the center. Is very important so that it aligns well. And then I'll sew it on 1/2 inch. Do the same thing on this side. So having done that, I'll take this also, which is the front, and then place my lace to also like this, making sure that I match center to center. Then I'll sew on 1/2 inch and come back and show us. Okay, so after joining the lace, can you see what we have? I also went ahead to join the front. Okay, so now the next thing to do is to join the shoulders. Remember that this one has a lining, so what I'll be doing, I'll pick like this. Can you see? This is right side and right side, right? Right side facing right side. I'll just pick one of the lace, right? And then I'll take this one to the back like this, and then sew on the shoulder. This is just to use it to turn the shoulder instead of sewing it directly, and then you are seeing my seam allowance. Okay, so I'll just sew it this way. Okay, so I'll do the same thing for the other side too, and then I'll show us how to fix our sleeve so that we can get done with this in no time. Okay, so after turning the shoulders, can you see? I neatly turned my shoulders so you can see my neckline is still open. I went ahead to fix my sleeve. So I sewed my sleeve on 1/2 inch, the sleeve on 1/2 inch, and then I also went ahead to weave it. So this is what it looks like on the right side. It looks like on the right side. So you can see my sleeve. So now the next thing I'll be doing before we'll cut our collar will be the last thing we'll do. Before doing that, I'll just go ahead and sew on 1/2 inch. Remember, it's a flared dress, so I don't want to reduce it. The more flare we have, the more fullness we'll have. So I'm just going to sew on 1/2 inch all the way down from the sleeve here down to the hem. Okay, I'll sew on 1/2 inch on this side and sew on the other side also. So after doing that, I'll fix my flared sleeve. Okay, so this is the flared sleeve. You can see I've also used bias to turn the flare. Can you see? So after closing the shape here, that's after sewing on 1/2 inch, I'll go ahead and fix my flare sleeve. You can see my flare, the sleeve does not have any slash anyway, so I need to shape this before fixing the flare sleeve. Then I'll show us how to cut the rounded collar. Okay, so here we are. I'm gonna head to fix my flare sleeve, as you can see, and then I've shaped the dress like I earlier said I was going to do. Okay, and you can see I've also hemmed the down part. So we're almost done with our outfit. So now the next thing to do is to cut my collar. So first we'll take our measurement. Can you see how I'm folding the neckline? I placed it into two. So I'll take my measurement like this. So here I have 9 inches. Remember that I'm taking my measurement on fold. So this is 9 inches. So 9 inches, that's 18 inches. So to cut this rounded collar, I'm just going to do it on my gum stitch so that it's clearer, because I'll be using the gum stitch to sew it. Okay, so now I'll be ironing my gum stitch. That's what I meant to say. So now I have 18 inches. So I'm going to divide that 18 inches by 3.14. So I'll do that and I'll show us what to do. So after dividing 18 divided by 3.14, I have 5.2, which is 5. Okay, and the length of the collar I want to have a length of 2 inches. That's like, okay, I'm using a length of 2 inches. By the time I sew up and down, I'll be left with just 1 inch or 1¼ inch. So I'll place my tape like this and take my measurement. So now take note of what I'm doing. I'm going to be marking my 5 inches plus 2 inches, so that's 7 inches. So I'll place it, this is where I have my 7 inches. I'll fold it into two like this. So can you see that? I folded it into two like this. Okay, so now I'll bring my chalk, and then from this part, from this apex, can you see this measurement? What I have here now is 7 inches like this. So of course I will have 7 inches this way too also, but you can see that it's my gum stay I'm using. So I'm going to mark my 5 inches now round like this. Let me get another chalk that will show, or let me use a pen. So I'm marking my 5 inches, 5 inches, 5 inches, 5 inches. So here we are. This is 5 inches. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and mark the length of the collar. I said I'm looking for a collar of 2 inches. Okay, so I'll connect it like this also. So here we are. So I'll bring in my scissors and cut it out like this. So, and then I'll also come here and cut it out like this. So I'm just going to trim out this part that is chopped here. Okay, so now take note of what I have. Can you see I have a half circle? That's a rounded collar. So let's take our measurement here, because this is the part that will be at the downside that will give us that like 18 inches that we measured. This is supposed to give us plus our sewing allowance. Remember that we didn't add any sewing allowance. Usually this formula gives you plus your sewing allowance. So I'm placing my tape like this. Let me place it facing the camera like this, like this, like this way, and this way. Can you see I have 22 inches? That's measuring round. Okay, remember that we got 18 inches. So can you see that this has given me a sewing allowance of 1.5 on both sides? Most times it doesn't give you up to that, it just gives you 1 inch. So maybe my measurement, okay, can you see my chalk? So I need to just my cotton here, so I need to just trim closer. So it's better to always have, it's better to have more than to have a shortage. Of course, when you have more, you can always reduce the size. But if you have a shortage, you have to waste that fabric or whatever it is you use to cut, and then cut a different one. Okay, so let me measure again. So can you see I still have my 1.5, which is fine. So I'll just come here and reduce it by half inch, because I want to have 1 inch for my sewing allowance. Okay, I'll be using to turn it. So right now I'll cut out exactly what I have here. I'll need two of this, and then I'll place it on my fabric and cut out exactly what I have here. Okay, so I'll cut this on my gum stain and then go ahead to cut it on the fabric. Okay, so after pressing the gum stay to my, I've cut out my fabric, and then I'm gonna head to press my gum stay to it. I'm using the medium weight gum stay. Okay, so now what you do, or what I'll be doing is, I'll place them right side facing right side. This is the part that will be on the upper part. Okay, this is the part that will be the upper part of the collar. That's what I meant to say. So I'm going to take it to my machine and sew it round now on half inch. So I'll sew it round on half inch and come back and show us. So I'm gonna head to sew it round like you can see. So I'll just go ahead to notch it. Remember that is the curved part. So this part is the upper part of the collar. Okay, so I'll now turn it like this, then bring my iron in so that I can press it. Bring my iron wood, and then, so now that I've pressed it like this, the next thing I'll be doing, I'll choose one of them, the part that is going to be outside, that's the right side of my fabric. So I'll choose which side, because they are all the same, so you just choose which side. I'll just choose any of the sides, and then I'll go in, I'll fold in half inch. Okay, take note of what I'm doing. I'll place like this, and then iron. I'm folding in half inch. This is the side that will be outside, that will be on the right side of my, of the flared gown. So can you see that? So I'll come here, fold this half inch like this. You continue to follow it as it is rounded this way. I have successfully turned my folded my half inch, okay, round, so you can see. And then you notice that the second one I didn't fold it. Okay, so now I'll place this collar like this. I'll fold it into two and get the center. So having done that, I'll take my fabric main dress and then fold it into two like this also, and then notch it also to get the center. So this is at the front here. So now remember I said that this side is the part that will be inside, this is the part that will be outside. So I'm just going to place it like this and pin it. So I'm just going to pin it around the neckline like this. So the sewing allowance has shown up here. You can always trim it when you have excess. It's better to have excess than to have shortage. Of course, I don't need to say that it is better to have more than to have shortage. Okay, so I'll come here and pin it this way too. I'll do that all the way to this end, just the same thing as my sewing machine, and sew on 1/2 inch. Then I'll come back and show it light. Okay, so after sewing my collar round, can you see what we have? So you can see my sewing allowance here. So now on a second thought, I thought we should use elastic instead of using bra hook. It's going to last longer, so that I'll just fix a button to it. Okay, so what I'll be doing now, because you can see now what is left is for me to top stitch this side. So what I'll be doing, you choose any of the sides and then place this elastic. My elastic is the tiny elastic we use for buttons, and it is 2 inches long. Okay, this is like 2¼ inches long. So I'll fold it into two like this, as you can see me doing. So now this my seam allowance, I'm going to cut it and leave just 1/2 inch because that's exactly what I need to sew with. So now I'll bring this elastic here and then place it on the right side, that's the front side of my collar. I'll place it here. I'll come down by 1/2 inch before placing it. Okay, so place it here and pin it. So then I'll take this to the sewing machine like this. Take note that I folded this part. I'll take this to the sewing machine and then sew it this way. So my elastic is on the right side, so that by the time I turn it out, I'll have my elastic facing that's facing the other side. Okay, this is it, so that it will come out from the other side. That's what I mean. So I'll place it like this, take it to my sewing machine and then sew on 1/2 inch this way. So I'll do the same thing on this side. I'll trim it also and leave 1/2 inch, take it to that side and sew, take it to the machine and sew on 1/2 inch, and then show us how to top stitch it. I did the same for this side. But the next thing to do is to notch this part. That's just trim out this part like this, and then I'll flip it. I'll turn it to the right side now. Let me trim my thread. So you do this like this, and then you use your scissors to just push it out carefully. Just make sure that you don't tear your fabric. So I'll do this and then pin it down like this. So I'll also push out this part like this. Use my scissors to carefully just push it out. Make sure not to poke it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pin it too like this. So then I'll pin every other side like this. You just need your pin so that everything just comes out nicely. So can you see how my elastic is coming out at this side? So I'll pin it this way. Pin it all the way to the other end, and I'll show us how to sew it. After pinning my collar around, can you see what we have? So now it's time for me to top stitch the collar on this side. So if you have watched up to this point and you have not subscribed, please kindly do so. Do not hesitate to put on your notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. So I'm just going to top stitch this way. So you want to just carefully take out your pins. Yeah? So this is what my collar looks like. Can you see how rounded it is? So it's not straight like the normal bishop collar. It's rounded, so it just has a way of just fitting into the neck well. Okay, so I'm just going to press it and fix my button, then we'll wear it on the mannequin so that we'll see it.